seems that Blizzard is going after Final Fantasy's housing in a very big way. Let's take a look. So yesterday, Blizzard came out with a new article looking at the interior design of the housing system that's coming in Midnight. They start out by saying that in the previous article that they shared, they were going over their plans and philosophies. I also made a video on that if you want to check it out. I'll leave a little pop-up in the corner of the video and I'll leave a link down below to the video if you want to check it out. But with this one, they're actually going to show off the work in progress of the decorating system, which I didn't expect to see this soon. So let's take a look at what they're saying here. So the disclaimers of this showcase is basically that this is only going to focus on the interior design system of a single room and that they have much more that they're going to cover at another time. And everything that you see, as always, is a work in progress and things can change and things like that. Nothing is finalized. So how's this all going to work? So basically they have two primary modes. There's going to be a basic and advanced version that you can freely toggle between. Basic mode is going to allow you to quickly place or remove objects and move them around while keeping their movement constrained and putting them somewhat together quickly and easily. So if you don't want to mess around with it too much, you can kind of just put things in real fast and just get in, get out kind of thing. And the basic mode will kind of have its own set of rules. So they provided us with a little video here of how like the basic movement is going to be. So decor can be moved around on the ground and will move on top of things as it bumps into them or down on the ground as they reach the edge. This lets you move around and have them interact in the expected way. Secondly, decor can also be rotated on its up axis with a rotation snapping of 15-degree increments, so objects don't accidentally unalign with other objects as you rotate them. So with this second video here, it's basically going over how collision is going to work with the walls, floors, and ceilings. So as this plays, I'll kind of just read out what they said. Decor has collision with other pieces of decor as well as the floor, wall, and ceilings, and players are unable to move decor through other things. No losing things in the walls. Decor will align to the floor, wall, or ceiling depending on what sort of decor it is. Example, a rug will align with the floor while a painting will align with the wall. If you move around a corner, you will continue to align properly. This also means decor will snap to the ground if you move it off something. So this next video is showcasing kind of how smaller objects will interact with larger objects with a term called parenting, which essentially just means that one object is the parent object, the main object, and all the little objects around it will connect to that object. If you know anything about 3D modeling or 3D animation or 2D animation, there's a lot of that where you can connect one object to another. So if one thing moves, they all move. So that's basically what this is kind of saying here. So certain types of smaller decor will parent to certain types of larger decor when placed on top of them. So you can see in the video that they're putting the smaller items on top of the table. The table will now be the parent of those children, so to speak. So when the table moves, they all move together. So that's essentially what they're saying and how it's going to work. It's definitely something very cool and a very big dig at Final Fantasy's housing system, because I know in Final Fantasy's housing, you can put certain objects on certain surfaces, but not everything works like that. Like there's very specific rules of what can go on what. So it looks like the WoW devs have taken that into account and have solved that problem. So very, very excited for this. It's very, very cool. And lastly, for the basic mode, you can have a grid that shows up to enable snapping, which will snap decorations to a point on the grid so you can help keep everything aligned, nice and tidy, and really appease your OCD. So it seems like the WoW devs have kind of anticipated people who might say that the basic mode is way too restrictive. So they've implemented an advanced interior design mode where the basic rule set is kind of just thrown out the window and your decor has absolutely no collision at all. So we can see in this video exactly what's happening with the no collision mode. So if you I don't know, if you want to put a table in a wall, by all means, go for it. So this next section focuses on how you're able to manipulate each object with the gimbals. They're the little 3D controls on the objects that allow you to scale, move, and position in all three axes. And as we'll see here, you can actually have them float in the air, which is kind of cool because, I mean, as far as like design standpoint, like let's say you wanted to make a mage house and you wanted floating objects, you can actually do that. That's insane. That's crazy. Like, I feel like they really put a lot of time into thinking how they can make this player housing, like the overall experience and the creativity, how they can put all of that into the player's hands. And I know this is like really like small stuff right now, but I don't know. For me, I just see all the possibilities and it's very, very exciting. In any event, you'll have your basic move, your rotate, and your scaling of all objects. And that gives you a lot of agency over creativity and how you want things to specifically look. Then they go on to show us kind of an example of what they have done internally so far, and it's looking pretty damn good. So the article states how they were using, for instance, they took bushes and they made them into garlands for their fireplaces, or they made paint buckets into small spice racks for their kitchens, and so on and so forth. So the potential for creativity to be endless is right here. In this video, they are showcasing how dyeing is going to work, and this is something that I've wanted in the game forever. I've always wanted to be able to dye transmog pieces. Now, obviously we don't have that right now, but there's something that they said in this section that kind of makes me hopeful for the future, that we might be able to take this system and put it to brand new transmogs coming in the future. So I'll just read this out as this video plays so you can see exactly how the dyeing system is going to work. In addition to the decoration modes, we wanted to call out some of our other functionalities and choices we've made, some because they're cool and worth sharing, and others because they're directly answers to some questions we've seen since the first article went up. So now this is the part that kind of gets me excited for maybe them being able to dye transmogs in the future. It goes on to say, for newly created assets, as opposed to legacy ones from existing art, which is key, we're allowing players to dye them a variety of colors. So if you find a chair and you wanted the upholstery to be blue instead of gray, you can make that change. So that gets me thinking that maybe the transmogs that are coming out in the future, maybe they're going to be able to be dyeable. And if that's the case, sign me the f up. So it's showing you how you can dye the carpet, the bed, all these things to make them match and make them your own. So as far as layouts are concerned, it looks like decorations are not the only thing that are going to get the customization that you want. So from what this is saying, basically you can also customize your wallpaper, ceiling, and flooring as well, which is actually kind of huge. It goes on to say that you can mix and match these things to elicit various cultures and vibes, or just make up your own. So a lot of flexibility here to make things the way that you really want them to be. They also go on to say that you can take things a step further and you can use partitions and build walls where none were before, letting you make rooms with arbitrary interiors. So this to me means that maybe the interior isn't a set thing and that you can possibly expand this, maybe infinitely. I have no idea, but that's kind of how it reads to me, is that you can kind of like, as time goes on, maybe you can make more and more and more rooms. And as you can see in this picture here, they have things all sectioned off. So I wonder what the base plate is going to be, and then how much more we can expand on top of that. Because if this is like infinitely expandable, that is insanely cool. You can make this any way you want, and that's a hell of a lot of flexibility. So in the last bit of the article here, they go on to say how they're not going to talk about the exteriors right now, but it's worth mentioning that the outside size of your house has no bearing on what the interior is like. So if you want a huge mansion outside with just one room inside, or a tiny shack on the outside but a dozen rooms inside, you can do that. So it seems like you're going to be able to expand this house infinitely as far as the interior is concerned, which again, that's nuts. It's crazy. That's very exciting. And also, just to touch on exteriors, they're going to talk about that at a later time. They conclude the article by saying how there's more to discuss with decorations, such as where you're going to be able to get stuff, how you'll be able to show off any collections like your pets, your transmogs, and mounts. Do professions fit into this? And a slight hint at neighborhoods, which they say they can't wait to share more. They're also asking that you please send them your feedback if you're able to, and they will keep on building. And in the meantime, they left us with a little screenshot of mixing and matching various styles, which looks pretty damn cool. So all in all, this is very exciting. This is a far departure from what people were speculating in the beginning. I saw a lot of comments of people saying how this was just going to be another Garrison 2.0. It's going to kill the social aspect of the game. There was a lot of negative stuff said about it, but I think really this is going to put a lot of that to bed. And I'm very, very, very excited for the future of this game. Housing is something that I've wanted in Warcraft for a very long time, and in Warlords of Draenor, admittedly, I did spend a lot of time in garrisons because I loved having the buildings and the NPCs and just being able to walk around and kind of have a place that I called my own. Mind you, it looked like everybody else's, but still, it felt like, you know, this is a place that I could hang out, albeit by myself. In any event, I think that'll do it for this video. I kind of just wanted to show you what they've been cooking in the old Warcraft kitchen. So with that being said, if you like the video and you want to see more content like this, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton and helps this video reach more people. Also, just a friendly reminder that I am streaming World of Warcraft on Twitch and YouTube, and trying to build a community to do M+ keys, raids, things like that. Kind of just want to get everyone involved. So if that's something that you're interested in, maybe drop by the stream sometime. Be cool to have you there. Until next time.